I'm going to go over removing and installing the mechanical fan with fan clutch on a BMW 3 Series. This will apply also for a 5 Series. Now on my BMW, this is a manual transmission, so I have the electrical fan. I'm actually going to install this extra fan and fan clutch that I have onto my BMW so that you can see how to use some special tools to remove the fan and fan clutch on your BMW. I'm just going to pop this off. So I do have a video on removing the electrical fan, but I'm going to just pop this off real fast. It only takes a few seconds. You're going to have to take this piece off anyways. Little snorkel, at least on the 3 Series. This is unplugged. Oops. We got one more clip right here. I have this actually plastic cover, which actually is pretty good. I actually have never seen that. Most BMWs don't have this little plastic rubber cap over the threads of the water pump, but the water pump threads look great on this. I think on most videos they're gonna go right into taking this right out, but you're gonna see it kind of backwards. I'm gonna show you also how to take it out, but I'm also right now gonna go ahead and install it. I just put a tiny bit of copper anti-seize on the threads of the water pump. Now, what's interesting about this is that this is a reverse thread. So that means instead of lefty loosey, righty tighty, it's righty tighty. Sorry, righty loosey, lefty tighty. So I'm going to go ahead and to spin this on, you have to line it up, and then while holding it nice and level, slowly turn it. This can be fast, or sometimes it can take quite some time to actually get this to go. Alright, I got it caught, just a couple of threads, and then turning it left spins it on. And this is how you'd install it. I'm going to show you some special tools to use to actually remove this fan, and a couple of tricks. I also have a water pump right here, and I could actually go ahead and install that fan onto this pump. You can see how everything works, and the pulley sits right around here, and the fan actually threads on, reverse thread to the water pump. So when the water pump is spinning, the fan is spinning, except that this is a viscous coupling, which means it has fluid, so there should be some tension. You can see this is actually still a pretty decent fan clutch. It has some good tension on it. So let's go ahead and show you how to take that off. Now if you have obviously the automatic with this fan on it, you're going to have a shroud here, so it's going to be partially covered, and you have to look down through here to actually access the large nut that's going to be holding it to the water pump. Alright, what are you going to need to remove that? You're going to need a 32mm wrench. This is actually one that I've used quite often. There's a couple of different ways to remove this, and this is a 32mm wrench. You can use that and a hammer. This is actually a thin one with a 32 and a 36. A fancier tool right here that you can purchase. This is actually a snap-on one, and again, this is the 32, and this tool is actually pretty important. This will actually hook onto one of the 10mm nuts that are part of the pulley for the water pump that attach right here to these 4 drilled holes, and basically you're going to be hooking those to hold the water pump in place so that you can break free the 32mm nut for the fan clutch. Sometimes these come off and They're actually very difficult. I'm going to go ahead and actually snug this down. Remember, lefty is tighty. And some of these you'll find that if you get on here, you just don't want to break free. So let's first go over the tool, because that's the easiest way, and then I'll show you the cheat ways. I think it's going to be difficult to see what's actually going on down here, so I'm going to use this water pump again to show you. Now this obviously doesn't have the pulley on it, but you can still see basically what's going on. You're going to be using this tool here, and you're going to be sliding it down, and you're going to hook the 10mm nut right there, bolt, and then come over to the side, and that's actually going to hold it in place. It's going to hold the water pump from being able to spin. Two hands, but and then you're going to come down, and then you're going to break that nut free by going to the right. So you're going to be coming down, hooking this, which is going to hold that in place, and then slide this down, and then break it free to the right. And that's what this tool does. Let's put that out of the way for now. So I'm going to slide this down and hook the water pump. You can see I'm actually under tension. The fan's just moving just a little bit. Right, so I have that hooked. And take the other thin 32mm and go down and catch the actual nut on the fan clutch. And you can see I have a little gap here. And then I'm going to break it free to the right. Now, if it's tough, you can actually hit it with a hammer right in the corner. Give it a good hit right here to break it free, but also holding the water pump from turning. So you basically break it free just like that to the right, and actually work great. Unhook that, and then simply spin the whole thing to the right. Now usually you have the fan shroud here, so it's going to fall into the fan shroud. And then when you take the fan shroud out, hold on to the fan and take them both out as one piece. Same thing going back together. You're going to hook them together and slide them in. Obviously this is a manual transmission, so I don't have the whole shroud, but at least you can see actually pretty well. I don't want this to fall and break the fins off, so I'm slowing down a bit here, spinning this off. I've already dropped it once, so twice. Thankfully it just bounces. So there you go, that's actually how you take that fan off. Now this fan clutch is replaceable from the fan, but if you have an older BMW, I would recommend that you replace the fan as well when you replace the fan clutch. What I've seen is you replace this fan clutch and it has a lot more tension than what the fan currently can hold or it's used to. And as soon as you get that hot day and everything's locked up and that fan is spinning, these fins will break right off. And again, they'll go right through either your hood, or they'll put dents in your hood. They'll take out your belts. They'll take out your transmission cooler. They'll take out your expansion tank, your radiator hose. I mean, you name it, they can do a ton of damage just when they come apart because they're moving at such a high rate of speed. So if you are replacing your fan clutch and they do leak, you'll actually see that this whole front part here is going to be covered in like dirt. It's going to look like dirt, but it's actually grease has been leaking and the dirt is sticking to it. And that's usually another way you can tell your fan clutch is actually failing. When you take a peek at it, you're going to see that it's just covered in dirt. So thankfully this is easy to replace if you do want to reuse your fan. Now I have 10mm bolts in here, but this is usually an Allen head screw. I believe it's a 5mm, and you just separate it. Now make sure to install the fan clutch. Take note, I think the fins are on this side. You can see there's some ribbing. You want to make sure that you install the fan clutch in the exact same position that you took it off. If you install it wrong, you can actually flip this over and put it on the opposite side. It won't fit right and you can cause some damage. So just take note, when you separate it, you're going to be separating from the opposite side. Take those bolts out, remember to flip it over and separate it. Put the new one on right away, turn it over, and then put your bolts in to hold it down. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall this, and hopefully it will go on a little bit easier. It actually gave me a bit of a hard time. Now to install this, you just have to line it up, and this is where it takes a little bit of finesse. Line it up and you have to get the right angle. You can tilt. You don't want to cross thread it and you don't want to force it on. It should go on nice and easy once you catch it. I've had these go on like nothing, real fast. You see I'm trying to support it, hold it straight up as I turn to the side. I've had these have me take 2 seconds to put on, 2 minutes, and I fought with one for like a half hour. And you know, you just, at that point, you need to take a break, come back to it, but they can fight you. See if I'm holding it against the threads, do a quick little turn to the side, hold it against the threads, quick turn, hold, turn. Oh, still didn't catch yet, but I had it. There, got it. Alright, once it catches, go ahead and spin it. There we go. Jeez. Sometimes that can really cause your back to ache. So that's it. It's installed. Actually, when this spins, it runs reverse to what the threads are. So it really can't loosen up, but I usually give it a little snug like this to the side. And then you're done. Now let me just go over some of the tricks. Say you don't want to buy this tool. You can use a 32mm wrench that is tall enough to stick up nice and high. I'm going to try to tighten this so that I can show you the effort. Make sure that's tight. Okay. Alright. One sec. Alright. So you don't have the special tools, but you have a 32mm wrench and a hammer. A lot of times, if you shock this, you can actually break it free. But a couple things to watch out for. Your upper radiator hose is plastic right here on the top. If you catch that, and you can catch it, you'll snap that right off. You might need a thermostat and an upper radiator hose at that point. So you have to make sure that you keep it away from that. So anything that you're going to be hitting, and you're going to be hitting towards the right, you're not going to contact it. So you do have to use caution when you give this a whack. Alright, so let me pull this back. Basically what I found, you think hitting it to the right is going to be the best way. You actually see I've broken this because I've actually used this too much to pop these off. You know, usually you do that only when your water pump is bad already, because using this method to take it off, you can damage the water pump. It has some internal bearings, and if you damage the shaft, it's going to fail eventually anyway. So better to use the correct tool. But if in a pinch, actually if you hit straight down and you shock it, to the side and down, there it goes. You can actually get it to free up. And that's why you have to watch out for that hose. And then obviously once it's free, you can spin it off. You know, same thing. Let me tighten this up. I mean, even if you have the other tool, sometimes you have to give it a bit of a shock. Break it free. Actually, you can see on this one, that's what it's been used for as well. There's a spot there where it's going to hit. Just shock it free. And actually hitting straight down most often will break it free more than hitting it to the side. You can kind of do more straight down, somewhat to the side. See it? Straight down actually broke it free better than to the side. Alright, I want to take that off because I gotta install my electrical fan. since I don't have an automatic transmission. But that's basically all the different tricks that you can use to get this water pump off. Now if your belt comes off, which I've seen, the water pump fails and the shaft will actually cock to the side, your belt can come right off, so you don't have the tension needed to do that trick where you just hit it to the side. It's actually it's the belt tension that's holding it in place. So in that instance, you would need the special tool because you have to actually hold the water pump from spinning. If the water pump spins and your belt's off, you have no tension, then you're never going to get it off without that special tool where you can pull it open. So it is a good investment. You know, if you have an older BMW, you're going to be replacing water pumps from time to time. Just keep an eye on that temp gauge. You never want to let it overheat, especially on this engine. Thanks for watching.